Hi, this is Zach here with the Bulletin Board Heroes here at Zach's Traders Cafe for Tuesday, the 9th of January. Starting off with the FTSE 100, which is in this consolidation, hopefully a mid-move consolidation between around 76.40 and 77.80, above a broken resistance line there from last February, and with the 50 and 200-day lines both rising. We're also just about holding on to that October rising trend line there in the RSI window. So glass, I suppose, half full rather than half empty, and looking for a break of 77.80. Through that, we could be looking at 8,000 maybe by the end of next month, which is a March resistance line projection from last year. On the downside, a break of 7,600 risks. I suppose at the moment the worst we'd expect is 75.30 at the 50-day moving average. Moving along to the DAX, and here you can see that we're back in our consolidation area, bounced off the old July resistance there, 16,500. Above that, we're looking for 17,000 at that May resistance line projection, and then up to as high as 18,000 as an end of February target, which is the old 1-year resistance line projection from last January. On the downside, below 16,500 is a test of the 16,100 area, which is not only the 50-day moving average, but also August-September resistance for this market. RSI comfortably above neutral 50, which is a positive. Moving along to the Dow, and here holding within that very steep rising trend channel from October, which is quite miraculous, it has to be said. Support here, 37,000. Above that, looking for 38,000 at that March resistance line projection. Best case scenario target by the end of next month, up to 39,300 in the top of that October channel. Moving on to the situation of Bitcoin, and here it's all been about trying to break 45,000, which has been done today. In fact, it was done yesterday. Above 45,000, we're looking for 50,000 by the end of this month. And in fact, if you look at that October rising trend channel, it could be up to 52,000, which is a target for the end of this month. The way things are going, could even be a bit quicker than that. On the downside, support there at the 50-day line, 41,000, and the recent support in the 40,000 area. So we're now not expecting Bitcoin to fall below the 40,000 mark ahead of a move to 50,000. Moving on to gold, which has done what we sort of feared it might do, which is bounce off the 50-day line, 2022 now. We're looking for an end-of-day close through 2070 to give us 2100, which was last month's peak, and then the best case up to 2180 by the end of next month, which is that late May 2022 resistance line projection. If things go really sour, I suppose would suggest that the 200-day line at 1980 would be the worst we'll see, but ideally we stay above that rising 50-day line. Moving on to the stocks, first one is one of the more successful charting setups of the recent past, which has been Angle. Here we are back to, we came back to our initial target there, 23 pence, and above 23 looking for up to 34, 35 pence, basically to retest the peak that we had just a few days ago. 50 and 200-day lines now rising, which means we're running into a golden cross hopefully later this month, and that should hopefully give the rally a second wind, so to speak. On to a stock which I haven't looked at for quite some time. It seems to have finally come alive, which is Agronomics. Here we had a broadening triangle base with a May resistance line target broken there at 12 pence, around 12 and a quarter. In fact, above that, we're looking for the upper parallel of that triangle, which is nearly up to 15 and a half pence by the end of this month, hopefully much sooner than that. And by that stage, we'd be upgrading the upside quite significantly. Moving on to Blackbird, which is now also looking as though it's coming back to life after bouncing off near the lows, just below 6 pence, breaking that line of resistance there from back in August around 6 and a quarter pence, and looking for the 200-day moving average by the end of this month around 8 pence. If you're cautious, you wait for an end-of-day close through the 50-day line, currently at 6.6 pence. One of the bigger movers of the week to date has been Cellular Goods, so lots of shake-ups there at board level, etc. Here we've had a bear trap gap reversal, one of our favourite setups, largely because it tends to work. Bear trap below the old October support there at 0.32. Above that, we're looking for 0.6 pence as soon as the end of next month, and hopefully a bit sooner than that. You can see from the daily chart that we've broken that May resistance line there with the gap higher that we've had today. On to Eden Research, we'd had a decent RNS today, progress in America, and here we're just about to hit that resistance line projection target that we had, let's call it 7.6 pence. We've gapped up today, so looking for actually more. The first target there was around 5.6 pence, and the second one 7.5, and so we can go for a new target now, which will be the line I'm just drawing at the moment, so 10 pence by the end of next month, while we hold above the latest gap and the 5.5 pence area on Eden Research. The Nexteq coming back to life quite sharply, and that's Finu, after a rather dire 2022, one can say, 2023 rather. Here we've got a situation where we're bounced off the bottom of the range and the bottom of a broadening triangle from back in October. The target there now 2 pence, and from memory, the company does actually have some decent amount of cash, so the rally does have some basis, one could say, on that alone. Haven't been above the 50-day line properly since April last year, so breaking that now is quite significant for the shares. Ideally, we stay above a penny, which was the old October floor on this latest recovery. Another stock which seems to be back in business is Funding Circle, and here, hopefully it's fourth or fifth time lucky in terms of breaking that line of resistance from the end of September, around 42 pence. Above that, we're looking for 50 pence, which was resistance back in August, and we've had that final bear trap, hopefully a final bear trap, down below the 34 pence level to start January. And I suppose the other point to keep an eye on is the way that the 50-day line is also rising, which when it's near the lows tends to be a leading indicator on the upside. Covered Futura over the weekend, and it's been a good 2 days for the shares so far. Good week so far. Here we've got rising 50-day line, and also we've hit our first target there around 39 pence. Above 39 pence now, looking for 60 pence as soon as the end of next month, or even sooner than that. It'd be nice to see an end of day close above the 200-day moving average at 43.5 pence today to get the shares on their way. Good news today again from Golden Metal Resources, and here the only issue, I suppose, it just seems to be a few people trying to get out of the shares above the 10 pence level. That seems to be the evidence so far, but on a charting basis, we've got a rising trend channel in place since May last year, since the stock came to market. Initial target here is 12.5, and then up to 16 pence as an end of February target, while we remain above the 50 and 200-day moving averages, currently around the 8.5 pence area. They're both rising at the moment, so that does suggest we're going into a very appropriate golden cross there on golden metal. Next up is Global Petroleum, and here, if I can type it out correctly, we've got a situation where the shares have been able to recover mildly off a rising trend channel base in place since October. I'd like to see a proper clearance and end of day close above the 50-day moving average at 0.07 to give us a target as high as 0.16 pence by the end of next month. And obviously no new lows, what will be appreciated in the meantime. Need to stay above that line there at 0.06. Going on to Katoro, and here the shares dancing around the initial target we had there around 0.13, above 0.13. We're looking for up to 0.22 by the end of next month, helped by the way that both the 50 and 200-day lines have crossed. I can't quite see whether it's a golden cross, but that should at least help the flow over the next few days. A stock which is news to me, which is new to me rather, which may have changed its name, but it is called Nextech, and here we've got a beautiful turnaround, but the vertical push through the 50-day line, that's now rising, and a break of the initial resistance there around £1.10. Above £1.10, we're looking for up to £1.44 by the end of next month, in which what looks like a very nice smooth turnaround for those shares. On to the last two. The first one is one which has had a very decent recovery over the recent past, Orosur mining, and here you can see nudging the 200-day moving average around 3.8 pence. We had a very good example of a sideways shuffle above the 50-day moving average, so breaking it and then never needing to test it, even though it's rising against the price. Here we've got the 200-day line around 3.8 pence. Above that, looking for 5 pence by the end of this month, and then obviously a little bit more, given that we had the gap down back in May at 6 3/4. So I suppose that would be the next target after 5 pence. And the upside value bar we hold above that 50-day line at 2.95 pence. One of the stocks which had a great 2023 and will hopefully have an even better 2024 is Ondo. Here we've got that rising trend channel, a wide one from back in June, and at the top of that channel currently heading as high as 45 pence, which we're hoping for could happen actually by the end of next month, while we remain above that rising 50-day line at 23 pence. I suppose the obvious initial target there by the end of this month up to 32 pence, and post-August resistance for the shares. That's it from me today. More updates tomorrow.